Thank you for having me today, and thank you for um, spending your days with me, everybody. I know as we gear up kind of for the holidays, um, it gets a bit busy, so I know that you took a lot of time out of your day to connect. So, and thank you everybody for your service as well. I highly appreciate every veteran and especially business owners. You all have a lot on your plate. Um, So, yeah, today we're going to talk about basically uh, how your business will run without you. Um, and a lot of people tend to wait until they're thinking about leaving their business or selling it to start thinking about business succession planning. Business succession planning can actually start at the startup phase because you have a longer time period to plan for it. Um, so as a business owner, you're basically consumed with the day to day of like managing your cash flow, your suppliers, your employees, your customers. And then you also have families. So you kind of have two sides of the coin. You've got the business needs, and then you have your personal life that needs you as well. So at least over like the past couple of years with the economic disruptions that have been, stemming from the pandemic over the past 4 years, you're kind of actually almost 5 years now. So you're pushing your business forward a little bit more each day, which is probably why you rarely pause to actually ask yourself, like, okay, if I left the business tomorrow, would it survive without me? And so, really putting a plan in place for your business to continue once you leave is a critical step for your business. And it means a lot to not just your business, but your customers, your employees, and then everyone who depends on your business, but also for you. So something that feels very far away can be very difficult to find time to plan. But the fact that you're all here, it's at least something that's on your mind. And I hope to just accomplish a few things in the conversation today. So before we dive deeper, I want you to all think about like, why are you here? What are the biggest questions that you have in your mind about succession planning? And at the very least, you're going to find that you're not the only ones sharing the concerns that you all have. So we're going to kind of hit a few key points right from the start. So first, you want to kind of establish or fine tune the business succession plan. Not only it basically not only benefits the company when the time comes and moves on, but having the plan in place really helps to provide kind of tangible benefits that you can benefit from before you start the process of leaving your business. Also, the responsibility of having a business succession plan doesn't only fall on you as the business owner. It should be a conversation that you're going to have with especially your executive team. And so just like you develop systems in place and you include your team in that planning, it's the same with succession planning. You'd be surprised how involved your leaders in your business can be in planning the succession of your business, especially if they're really bought in to your mission of the business. They want to see it succeed. Um, so also our family, sometimes our family doesn't want our business. If we have multiple children, um, if usually the oldest one doesn't want your business, they saw how hard it was to grow. And then if one of your children do want it, it's typically the youngest because they just kind of see like this awesome functioning business that's generating revenue. They didn't see the hard part of actually developing and building that foundation. So yeah, sometimes our children saw how hard it was to grow it. They want nothing to do with it by the time they grow up. Um, and so a team effort that can proceed smoothly and end with like a strategy that's really customized for your needs, whether that's keeping the business in the family or handing the keys over to a talented protege that you have. Um, that could be something to think about. And then also, the third piece is like a highly tailored business succession plan puts you in the driver's seat to exit the business on your own terms, basically in a way that suits your family and your financial goals while also taking care of the employees and the business you'll leave behind. Too soon, people wait too long to try to start business succession planning, or unfortunately, like in my area, there was a restaurant owner who passed away from cancer. I don't know if he had a succession plan. All I know is the GM had to really take over from there. And I don't know how that restaurant is going. So sometimes, unfortunately, we leave our businesses and we didn't intend to. So this one is sort of like the holy cow slide. So we're not trying to scare anyone here, but these statistics tell a story. So Northwestern Mutual teamed up with Forbes, and we basically did a survey on succession planning with business owners like you, and we found a lot of findings that really stood out. So it's said that business isn't personal, but everyone here knows that that's not the case. Business is highly personal. And you all have probably taken your own risk, put up your own money, sacrificed your time with your family and your friends, and had more sleepless nights than you would like to admit when you're building your business, because it really takes its toll on you as an owner, and you're a whole human being. So it's probably not surprising that 84% of business owners do have a strong emotional attachment to their business. Many people that I know couldn't imagine not owning their business at some point in their life, or one day turning it over to somebody because they want to keep the business. But we all know that we can't take everything with us. So it's just kind of reality. And but however, 65% of business owners that we spoke to, they do fear that without them, their business will fail. So business owners' fears, they're not unfounded. 30% of business failures were by basically the unexpected death of the founder. Um, and then here's the kicker: only 34% of business owners have a succession plan in place. So there's a disconnect here, which also, presents a clear risk to the business that the founders care so much about. So I want you to really think about, if you don't have a fully formed succession plan, think about why you haven't put one in place yet. So these here are some insights from the team over at Forbes to shed light on how we can help business owners plan for their succession. So here are some of the common concerns or obstacles that business owners tend to encounter when they think about building a succession plan according to the survey. And I want you to ask yourself, does any of this sound or look familiar? Succession strategy, finding candidates, critical knowledge, finding successors, the right traits, or just simply not having time. So here's the thing: by working in partnership with you and the rest of your advisory team, we can alleviate a lot of these pain points to build a tailored plan. And the sooner that we get the ball rolling, the better. So all of the data that I cite in this presentation comes from the survey with Forbes Insights and focuses specifically on the responses from people of substantial wealth. So I'm going to be sharing this data to highlight the areas where a wealth team can help from a business succession standpoint. But like I said earlier, even if you're in like an earlier stage of business or even at the startup stage, I want you to still have the business succession planning piece in your mind. And this is actually going to give you some good starting points to just kind of jot down in your notebook over time, or wherever you keep notes for your long-term goals. So hopefully we all live long lives and our businesses will prosper, and then we'll retire on our terms. But we know that that doesn't always happen. So the trouble is, you can't hedge for uncertainty after the fact. We can only build contingencies for tomorrow, but we can only do that today. So I was just having a conversation with a client yesterday where we were talking about how the only requirement to die is to be alive. And it was like, wow, okay. So while it may seem like leaving your business is far into the horizon, no one can say that with certainty. We don't know when we'll have to walk away from our business. So building a succession plan today, at the very least, builds in a hedge for your business so that if for some reason you leave it tomorrow, your business is covered. So it's not just about the future. Building a plan can really reap benefits right now. So for example, potential suppliers or customers, they prefer to work with a business that have a concrete succession plan in place. They want to know that that your business will continue before they make a major high dollar commitment. Another thing I want to point out is we're in a highly competitive labor market. So if we can identify a key employee that will eventually take over our business, that's a great incentive to get them to basically stay in your business if you want them to if you want them to stay, you should have um that chat with them because a lot of employees, they want to work for a company that they know is going to be around, but they also want to be in they want to be vested. So a vesting schedule with a cliff that also helps prevent giving away equity that will end up we call it dead equity. So if anybody wants to learn more about that, we can have a deeper conversation separately about that, but it's just one piece that allows you to it's scary to give away any kind of equity in your business. So you want to do it very strategically, but you don't want to wait too soon when the business is worth too much. You don't want to do it too early before the business has done anything. So it's really a group effort here. So all right. So how do we put it all together? We anchor our succession planning in a 5 points, basically like a 5-part process. It basically ensures that a strategy ultimately reflects your personal goals and then also values your business correctly. If you've never had a business valuation, it's something to think about. And then also builds contingencies for things like that could go wrong because unfortunately not everything goes to plan. But that's okay. You can always plan for the unplanned. And then these core tenets basically from the foundation of every plan, but that doesn't mean that the process yields uniform results. So every plan is tailored to the client, but the 5 areas of focus will help you yield a plan that works. It's also helpful to have a defined process in place because there will be likely several other people representing you or your business involved in the process. So one of the key roles that I play in this process is coordinating with your team to keep the process moving smoothly while also ensuring that the plan basically reflects what you want to happen. So let's take a closer look at how all these pieces come together. So a good business succession plan begins with basically the end in mind. It's important to think through a few key questions as the answers will help determine the best path forward. So your answers here will ensure that what you want are reflected in the plan, but it also help us build the best strategy. Some things to think about early on are, okay, will you want to retain some control or have some say in the business? Will a partner buy you out or will the business be passed on to a family member? And very often business owners will stay on as, an employee, quote unquote employee of the business, but at a lower pay while the successor takes over to help ensure a smooth transition. And importantly, think about the role that your business plays in your personal financial plan because that will guide the valuation methods that, we use later. So I'm going to give you all a minute. I want you to think about who is your protege in your business. So take a moment, envision like your first day after you step down from your role. Let's say you're no longer working there as of tomorrow. Who's going to be the best person to take your seat? And do you know who will be the best person to drive your business after you're not here? And I'll give you about a minute. All right, moving on. So switching gears a little bit, this is probably the most important question in succession planning. Who will take over the business? So I don't know how many of you are here to that are keeping your. I wonder how many people here on this call today are planning to keep the business in the family. And you want to start asking yourself, okay, what is the reason you want to keep it in the family? And are your family members ready to step up in your role tomorrow if needed? And that's a hard question to ask, especially if your family has never worked in your business. But you can always judge them for, based on what they do at home. Like my daughter, I saw how she applied herself at school, and I that quickly made me realize, nope, she's not the person to take over my business. So, and that's okay. You know, there's really no right decision here, but there are some strengths and weaknesses in every approach. So when it comes to building a plan, there are trade-offs for every option. So if you leave it to a family member, it helps the family and it keeps you involved to a certain extent. And of course, it may be difficult to divide it evenly between different family members. That could cause some conflict. Or maybe they're just not interested in running the business. Once you know who will take over, and like how it gets done is where the rubber meets the road. So there's a lot of combinations available, and it really is going to depend on your goals and your timeline. And then the plan is basically going to be tailored to you. So, have you ever heard of optimism bias? So, in general, the optimism bias states that humans have a tendency to think bad things happen to other people, or that the odds of something bad happening to them are lower than the general population. It's sort of like the Dunning-Kruger effect, where we think that, we're the better drivers or just plain smarter than most other people. So as business owners, you probably view the glass as half full. So it's hard to take risks and build a business unless you seek the upside in different situations. But the odds of experiencing difficulties are the same for all of us. And that's also true, is no one can predict, when or if those things will happen. All right. So, in fact, this is interesting. About 57%. So, the majority of business owners know that they're relying on their gut and not data when it comes to planning their succession. So, being realistic and relying on data are important components of a fully developed succession plan. So, a succession plan, it basically plans for the unexpected as best as we can, basically protecting what you built, protecting yourself, your loved ones, your business, and something bad happens, all those things will still be okay or better than okay, because you're not having to drain out and sell off everything just to take care of it all. So we may be incorporating, key person disability insurance or buy sell agreements strategically to ensure a smooth transition if one of these kind of what ifs occurs. This is especially important if you have a business that's owned by more than one person. So let's say you've got a business with two business owners. They each own, half of the business. If one of them passes away, like depending on what kind of operating agreement you have or succession plan you have, sometimes the family of the deceased come after that business saying, hey, we want their half of their portion. And that business doesn't always have the cash on hand to pay out that family. So anyone that wants to learn more about buy sell agreements, feel free to chat with me. I'm happy to explain that more. But basically, in the event if something happens, you or your heirs will be ready. And then honestly, it's just one less thing to worry about, and then you sleep better at night because like, okay, you know what? Like me, I'll give you a personal example. I'm not a great driver. I can't tell you how many times I've almost gotten into an accident. But um, I can tell you that I worry less while I'm on the road because there's a plan. So it's same with business. If there's a lot of different thoughts that keep you up at night, having something in place and talking to someone and even just unpacking it and talking it out loud with a group, it can be pretty therapeutic. Just the starting point. So this slide talks about why getting your business why evaluation matters. So you want to know what your business is worth. Honestly, that's the key to any business succession plan. We don't know how to um, we won't know what to plan for or how much is needed to plan for if you don't know what your business is worth. It's a pretty simple process to get that done. There's some specialists that handle that. Um, So Northwestern Mutual Advisors have access to technology that uses these patented like algorithms that can help you and your advisory team take the guesswork out of business valuation. So we do have like this fancy software that helps this with a starting point. And we may want to like minimize the value of your business of your financial plan if you're gifting it, but then we might want to maximize the value if you're going to sell it or use the proceeds from a buyout. So whatever your goal, we'll be using that kind of technology to help take the guesswork out of the valuation. But of course, in addition to any of the software that we use, it'll be appropriate to get a formal valuation, as especially as the transition date nears. But at least it's good to have a decent starting point. So business succession plans aren't meant to be left in a file drawer. They The only constant thing in life is change. So your business succession plan is basically going to be a living document. So as your goals change, the years change, your life changes, your plan is going to change too. And it's always healthy to look at it at least once a year to make sure you're on track. So for instance, there's all types of things that happen. We already went through a global pandemic a few years ago, and then industry disruption, supply chain issues, inflation, all those things tie into a business and how it's going to perform and how the value will be. So I'm happy to hop on a call with anybody here that wants to just chat afterwards and get more information. So no matter where you are in your business succession plan, I can help, and we can kind of figure out where you want to start. So whether you're a startup, and you're still trying to get your operations in place and hire your team, or maybe you're thinking about expanding your business or hiring more people, maybe you're opening another location, or maybe you're just trying to get through the tough time of the economy, and maybe your clients' budgets are lower than normal, and you have to kind of re-strategize, okay, how are we going to keep our business afloat, stay profitable, but also meet our clients' needs? I'm happy to chat about that too. I'm very, as a business owner, I totally understand where everybody's going through this year. But also maybe your business is flourishing and you're like, you know what, I'm ready to retire. I'm ready to sell it. Okay, that's fine too. So wherever you are at, we can chat. And I know we have some questions.
Hey, hey, Marcel, we got a few questions.
Okay.
One of the questions was, how do you effectively transfer a service disabled veteran or small business to someone else?
Okay, so how do you effectively transfer it to it? It depends on if you're gifting it. So you can, there's a couple different ways. First, you got to find the person. Who are you transferring it to? And it's all going to start with a conversation. Are they going to are you going to finance it? Is it a buy-sell arrangement? Are you going to take payments from them? There's another way to do it. Like, let's say the business has done a lot of debt and you are like, man, well, I would love to sell my business, but I don't want it to be a problem for someone else. You can even just sell the assets to them and then get royalties from your business and then use those royalties to pay on the debt. So there's always a way around it. But it's very loaded question, and I hope that you don't think that this answer answers the whole thing. It's a lot of the information I can give is broad, but I hope that's just kind of like a starting point of what to think about.
Gotcha. Okay. Somebody said, as a service disabled veteran or small business has to be the majority owned and controlled by a service disabled veteran. How does that factor into your advice and approach?
If honestly, if you're looking to keep it at that certification level and you're looking for another person to sell it to, I'm sure that there's another veteran that you can sell to. Or, there's veterans are all over the place. I mean, whether they're business owners, aspiring business owners, and honestly, veterans tend to be great business as a whole. Like, even if you find a veteran that has never owned a business, they know structure, they know how to create SOPs, they know about mission. So I would say, like, you'd probably be surprised who's already in your wheelhouse that could take over and keep that veteran service certification for your business.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Somebody asked for your contact information.
Oh,
If you wouldn't mind putting that in the chat.
sure. I'll put in my email and my phone number.
Okay. Marcel, do you know how a succession plan works when you have a joint venture formed and they are operating?
Yes, you have to definitely have, I don't know how many people are in your joint venture. I don't know if it's two or more, but it's going to have to be a group effort. Um, so what I would do is we can have you, your partners, we want to have your accountant involved or your bookkeeper, and we can get on a call with me and we can kind of all talk about the first steps in that. And then eventually, I do work with some estate planning attorneys who are really good at the business succession side and the operating agreements. But you do want to make sure that you have at least the basis, like overall, what is your vision for it? What do you want to happen? And we can talk, and I can go over like the questions that they typically would ask of you, and then it would kind of unravel from there. Where am I located? So I am out of Annapolis, Maryland, but I'm licensed in many states out of the United States. So I'm basically licensed in everywhere. So if you want to have a conversation, we can chat. Michigan, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Marcel. Did
You're
you
welcome.
put your information in the chat?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
got you.
if
I'm just
anyone who wants, so I have a really fancy PDF. It's like 9 pages long. It'll give you the pros and cons of different, like who to give your business, basically like the loaded questions of where to start with business succession planning. So if you email me, I'm happy to send over the PDF, and then I can email you my I have a like basically like a scheduler link that you can use just to schedule us for a call. It's no strings attached. I don't charge for calls, by the way.
thank you.
Mhm.
Is there a strategy for a veteran-owned, nonprofit-owned business?
Veteran owned, nonprofit owned business.
Mhm.
Honestly, a lot of the strategies for nonprofits tend to mirror a lot of with regular businesses. There's just a little couple of things to think about when doing it. Um, who's on payroll, who's not, who are your board, oh my, who are your board members, who will stay on, who plans to leave. Um, so that's kind of like the starting point. And then if you had an attorney help you start your nonprofit, um, that would be, and if I don't know if you're still talking to them or if you have like a general attorney, but I do have some that I can connect you to as well if you don't have one.
Um, it's a question in here. I'm not skipping over your question. I was just waiting for somebody to answer. But um, for your question, Kat, this is a question that she asked myself. I don't know if we can answer it now, answer it offline. But it says, I have established my exit strategy to become 100% ESOP. But my issue is that the FAR prohibits ESOPs from being certified as DVOSBs. If my successor in running the business is also a service disabled veteran, can you help us get the FAR clause changed to allow us to become an ESOP as long as the leadership and control of the business remains? Um, 1 second. Remains with a service disabled veteran and maintains certification. What's the ESOP? Anybody
Let's,
know? Somebody else asked that chat question in the chat as well.
let's see. Oh, the employee stock ownership plan. Yeah, we
Okay,
do that
employee
too.
stock
Yeah,
ownership plan, guys.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
some. Yeah, that is a question that's going to take a little digging, but I'm happy to um connect offline. But it is something that we do. But but you said they're not. Here, let me see. Establish an extra strategy to become information far prohibited. You know what? Let me take, Kat, I'm taking your question and I'm going to get an answer for you.
I can share the Q&A with you when it generate tomorrow myself.
Okay, cool.
That way, for any questions that we do not answer, we will make sure to get back with you at a later time. Thanks to the Apex Accelerators, definitely, for being on the call. They did put in the chat that they are available to assist if needed. It's one in every state, so they are a very helpful resource and all around for definitely procurement and other questions that they may have. So please reach out to your local Apex Accelerators if you have some questions or need anything. So thank you for that, Jonathan. All right, this are all the questions I see for now. Got one in the Q&A. Somebody stated I would like more information on buy and sell agreement.
Yeah, I can, if you email me, who said that? Let me, uh, Melvin, if you want to email me here, let me I guess I can put my info in there too in the Q&A. I'm happy to email you some information on buy-sell agreements. And we can go over a call and I can kind of go over how it works.
Gotcha.
Oh, I can't. For some reason, the technology doesn't let me put my info in the Q&A.
You're not gonna be able to put it in the Q&A.
Okay.
You can put it in the chat. She does. If you look in the chat, Marcelle has her email address and her information in there. I did find a question from Kat that said, is it a solid exit strategy to allow your employees to own the business?
If you sell shares of your business to employees, you'd be surprised how many businesses I've seen grow from that because they're bought in. Your employees have a vested interest in making the business more money. And it I know that's like, but that's like a catch-22 because in other states it's like, or in other ages or in other businesses, it's like, well, heaven forbid my staff know what I charge, or they're just gonna run and take the idea or the business. But so it can go one of two ways, but I have seen it be very successful in businesses.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. So all the questions I see right now, if I did miss a question, and like I said, we will get back to you later because most of the questions came in the chat. It's a little easier to function and go through the questions when they put in the Q&A. So if we missed your questions, my apologies, but we definitely will get back with you. Is there anything else you want to share, Marcel?
Yeah, actually, I'll just kind of share like a high level overview of what I do because I think people tend to like, I didn't know what a financial advisor was until I got one. So I'll just kind of give a high level overview of what I do as a whole. So I help people at all stages of life. My youngest client is 12 years old. My oldest one is already retired. Um, but we help in like three main areas. The first one is sort of like risk management, which is basically protecting yourself, your loved ones, protecting your business, making sure that you have like your business continues. And we do that through a lot of like insurance planning, which is life insurance, disability, and long-term care, but also talking about putting an emergency plan in place if something bad happens, making sure you have your legal documents, if you have um, your kids, guardians, making sure your business continuation plan is set, but also like I don't know if you invest, I don't want to know right now either, but if you do, making sure you're not taking more risk than what you're comfortable with and what your returns are. But then I also help with like wealth accumulation. We do a lot of like retirement planning, putting kids through school, a lot of tax-free strategies. And if you're paying too much in taxes, we definitely have to talk because I can help kind of strategize that as well. But then also like later on in life, the wealth preservation and distribution, making sure like when you get to retirement, making sure that you're pulling money from different savings and investments in a way that you're not running out. Because as business owners, we have to plan for our own retirement. And there's nothing scarier than thinking that our business is going to take care of us forever. So that's all.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you. That was great. Well, a couple more questions that came in. I think This is a good one. How do you best find companies interested in buying your business? I get a lot of calls, but are they legitimate?
You know what? I have a list of resources, and you're right. There are some that cost too much. There's some that's not worth it. When I was thinking about selling my business a few years ago, I was getting bombarded with people wanting to take me to lunch. So um, I do have a list. If you just shoot me an email, I can, um, I can get you some connections. And I'm also a natural connector. A lot of my clients are businesses. Some are looking to invest in businesses. Some are looking for investors. Um, but I first have to it has to be in compliance of anyone that I connect with. But also, if there's someone with a need and someone with the means to fill that need, I do connect them.
Then a
And
question came in, it's kind of sort of the same question. Um, it's like, is it possible for us to get an attendee list in case we, as SDVOSBs, may want to buy or sell or merge as part of a succession plan?
if anyone emails me saying that they're looking to buy and other people are emailing me saying they're looking to sell, I'm happy to send connections.
Gotcha. Thanks, my email. Okay. That's all I see for now. I'm just trying to go through the chat. But like I said, if I did miss your question or I can't see it, we would definitely come back to you with an answer and a response. I hope everybody enjoyed their day. Hope everybody has a happy holiday with Christmas and New Year's coming up. We will see you guys next year. Thank you for your time and your effort. We love the small businesses and we're here to advocate for you and support. So we appreciate you. Appreciate your time too, Marcel. Thank you for everything. You guys know it's a survey that you would click off at the end of this. Let us know how we did today. You take your time with the survey, as I always say. You will see strongly disagree at first, but if you strongly disagree, that's fine. But other than that, enjoy your day. Till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.